All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, and welcome back to Blame Your Brother. Thank you so much for checking us out, however you're doing that on whatever podcast platform, or maybe you're joining us tonight, Thursday at 8 p.m. at blameyourbrother.tv, exclusively on YouTube. We stream the show, so come hang out and join us as we do that. There's two of us that make up Blame Your Brother. I'm one half of that duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Glenn Jackson, Mr. 40%, the spiritual midget, and I'm sitting next to this gentleman on my left. It is John.
Everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do a madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right, so that's us, David, John, Blame Your Brother. We'll talk to you for the next hour or so tonight. In honor of Mother's Day being this past week, we are doing Top Television Mothers, the Mount Rushmore of Television Mothers. We will get to all that specifically about halfway through the show, but we have many things to discuss before that, so we'll just go ahead and get moving. All right, so before we get moving on to our lives, let's talk about some listener feedback. All right, so last week we did the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters, and not a lot of pushback on it. I mean, you know, it was kind of hard, but I do have some alternate people that made the list from our listeners. So, number one, this is from on Twitter, KG McGregor Only. He said, I agree with David on Janine Garofalo. Do you remember what I said about Janine Garofalo? I said she was very attractive on Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And Han Solo. He loved Han Solo. He says, thumbs down on Black Widow. He's not looking forward to that of Marvel Phase 4. He said, Boba Fett, really? He was basically an unknown, but now has this cult following. That's because he looked cool. And he said, Marvel is better than Star Wars as a whole, but the original trilogy is greater than Marvel. I
can see that if you take it for when it came out.
Yeah. I mean, those first three are pretty fantastic. You know, if you just put the first three Marvel films against the first three Star Wars films, I mean, Star Wars blows them out of the water. But if you take the best three Marvel films and put them up against that original trilogy, I still think Marvel kills them. But
they were pretty fantastic.
Marvel had 20-something movies or whatever the number is. So, anyways. Okay, so our friend Adam Pewitt, who used to be a podcaster, Adam, call us. We'd love to have you on the show. He used to do podcast role. I guess that's faded away. He says his list is Kylo Ren, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine. He says no Star Wars character story arc is as deep as Kylo Ren. He's my favorite. Don't judge me. You've already judged him.
I judged him.
So
I'm sorry, bro.
What is the judgment for?
I mean, he's almost the most whiny of all three of the Skywalkers, which is saying quite a bit.
Yeah, that is saying. Well, then Todd Borcher says, you didn't have Luke Skywalker on your list? Neither of us did. Because I said he's a whiny little...
I mean, the name of the show that week was The Skywalkers Are the Worst.
Yeah, so, you know. Rusty says, what list? Well, last week we did our Mount Rushmore of Star Wars characters, and... I will try to go off the top of my head. I had Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett, and Darth Vader. John had Yoda, R2-D2. Who was your third one? I can't remember. I know you had Princess Leia.
Princess Leia was the third.
Third one was, I don't even remember. Oh, Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah, Darth Maul.
Okay, so there you go. So that was our list. And our last comment comes from Instagram. Our friend Trapper Haskins says his Mount Rushmore would have been Darth Vader, Yoda, Luke, and Leia. Not saying those are my favorite four, but only they're the four cornerstones of the entire franchise. Fair enough. So, I mean, you know, it just depends on how you approach Mount Rushmore, which we will discuss in a little bit how we do our TV moms. But, you know, we'll get to that in a little bit. So how has your week been? Anything new going on? It was Mother's Day. So
it's Mother's Day.
And as people know, neither me recently or John's mothers are here with us. So that's always, it was my first Mother's Day without my mother around. It was very weird. Do you recall your first Mother's Day without your mother? Like, I know it's been years, but.
Well, I mean, it was almost a year after, because she passed away not long after Mother's Day.
Okay.
She passed away in June of 2014. And so, I mean, that's almost a whole year.
Yeah.
And so, it was, even though I acknowledged the fact that, I couldn't do anything with it, it still felt like I was forgetting something that day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was weird. I mean, I thought about her quite a bit. I know it's weird because I'm not, John is you're a spiritual person, always been, religion plays a very strong role in your life. Not me so much, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm like talking to her not as if she's in the room with me, but as if she's still in the universe with me. Like I'll have conversations with her, and I had a few with her on Mother's Day. So it's very weird, and it gets emotional and everything. But, so it was just kind of a weird. But I'm not someone. I keep a lot of stuff inside a lot of the time, so I don't go to people and go, hey, my mother's not around, I'm sad. I'm just like, all right, well, it's everyone else's Mother's Day, so I don't know. I don't feel like I don't always want to bring my sadness onto other people. I hate doing that. Like I was raised to just kind of like when you went to the doctor, you never really said anything. Like you weren't like, ow, that hurts. I was just taught to just grin and bear it.
I mean, you know about how how I grew up, and most of my childhood, I was responsible for being the comic relief of my family. I would, whenever, especially for my mom, a lot of pressure was on her. She was a single mom for most of my childhood, even though my father was around, but he just wasn't around. I put on Thriller and, do the Michael Jackson dance and, hide behind the couch and act like I was a zombie coming up behind it. Urkel impressions, Mickey Mouse impressions, just anything to make my mom laugh. And then I was also basically her private canary, she'd always want to hear certain like gospel songs, and, she'd ask me, hey, can you sing that song, or can you sing this song or that song? So, and that kind of bled over in other areas of my life where if I was upset about something, it's like it seemed like everybody else freaked out.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
And so,
when you play that role, like I'm someone that's loud and talkative and kind of funny, and when you don't do that, people are like, what's up? And it's like, well, dude, I mean, I can't, this isn't on all the time, like it's on for you guys, but like, it's not on for me.
I'm not running on Energizer, baby.
I'm not doing this at the house by myself, like doing bits and stuff. I'm like introspective and quiet and thinking about, but yes, so I totally understand that, it's okay. So how was Mother's Day this year? Obviously.
Not bad. I mean, when you have really small kids, Mother's Day is put on the husband.
It's another holiday that, as men, we have to do another holiday.
Yeah.
Which I'm thankful, that my wife gave me 3 children, and I know you're thankful. But it's like, hey, this is Mother's Day. This is not Mother of my Children Day. But but that being said,
but I am a super big fan, and I'm not just trying to toot their own horn, but. I am a super huge fan of the French toast that is made at the restaurant at the Courtyard where I work.
Okay.
And Robin is too. And so I had the girls make up some French toast before I left work because I had to work that night.
Nice, all right.
And so I came home, made up a tray, poured some orange juice for her, and brought her up some French toast, and then the kids made stuff at school for her and stuff.
Yeah.
So when they made that stuff, I kind of hid it, and then I brought that stuff out for her the day of, and I get that. In my life, it's you got Valentine's Day, Robin's birthday is in March. Our anniversary is in April.
Right.
And then Mother's Day is, and so it's like boom, boom, boom. I was like, I need a break.
Yeah, it hit you all once. I understand.
So I'm glad to be able to, I get to coast for at least a few months before,
there you go. Enjoy that.
Christmas hits.
Enjoy that for sure. Yeah, my wife's birthday and our wedding anniversary is in the same month, so it's always a good time, But yeah, I mean, our Mother's Day was good. We just took her out. She went to go out shopping, and then we had her. Her mother came over for a little bit, and we had some food and all that. So it was a good day. It is nice, when I look back at who was the the most important person in my life. Obviously, it would be my mother, which is funny because I didn't really realize that for a lot of years. I was so fixated on I was my dad's person that I never realized I was my mother more than I ever was my father. I just was trying to get my father's approval. And so you kind of miss out on, oh, yeah, I do this and this and all these qualities that are me. I never really thought, where do I get these qualities?
And it's funny that you say that because you did stuff to try and earn your dad's love.
Yeah.
Whereas you just got your mom.
Right. So you kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
And people don't know about us. We're really good with kids. Like me and John are like really good with kids, And my sister said it to me one time. She goes, and she's really good because she's like, we got that from Mom. And I went, wow, I never thought of that. But yes, 100%. Like, it's like things like that, like the way I see the world and everything. And it's like, it's crazy to think that. So I'm always appreciative of good mothers. And, it's crazy when a news story comes out about a bad mother because that's really the exception.
It seems unfathomable
right.
to people like you and me. And like your mom, not just you three.
Yeah.
But she had like 8 or 9 kids that she's watching every day.
Right.
And then in my mom, she had 5 of us kids. And then when we lived in New York, at different points, she actually had foster kids too.
Right.
And I was too young to remember most of them, but there was a couple of kids that lived with us about 3 years.
That's
in New York.
crazy, man. That is wild.
And
how old were these kids?
Vinny's the oldest in our family, and it was Yolanda and David.
Okay,
were their names. They were actually legit brother and sister. And Yolanda, I think, was about 6 years older than Vinny.
Oh, okay, so
she was about 13, 14.
So a little bit older, yeah.
When Vinny was like maybe 8, 9.
Okay.
And David was right around his age.
Okay.
Just younger,
so a little
just
bit
older.
A little bit older though, kids.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Wow, that's crazy.
And so, like, to have people like that have no threshold over the top of how many people they want to give love to.
Right. It's crazy, right?
Is in comparison to these people who are like, your Casey Anthony's out there that are just you just cannot believe that someone doesn't have that connection with their own children when we're used to people who are just ready to give love and give love and give love.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy to say that. Obviously, I cried like a baby when my son was born, and I had many moments where I got emotional. But I remember one of the big emotional moments when he was first born is I was watching a news story. It must have been like WKRN News 2 or something. And this story came on. I'll never forget this. It was a woman had abused her toddler and killed him, and her last name was Brewington. No lie. And I saw that story and it hit me in ways that you heard stories like that before, but when you have the kids, I was crying like a baby, and I felt like I felt like that pain that I'd never felt before. It's wild.
I get to the point where I feel anger toward these people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, get me in a room with this person.
Right. Well, it's either anger or sadness, right?
Yeah.
You got to go one of the two places. Like even
it's a combination. You feel sadness for the kid, but
right. I don't know. And then, it's just, why do these people do it? Maybe they were raised incorrectly. It's just like this cycle of abuse. Sometimes it's never going to stop. And, sometimes, if you're looking for the silver lining and everything, some of these kids, you're like, this is probably, maybe it's better that who knows what else they would have to endure. It's no telling,
Yeah.
Death is obviously the worst way to go, but imagine that little Joe, if you don't know, it's a kid who here in Tennessee was killed by his 2 parents. They can't find the body. They don't know where
in Dixon County.
They don't know where the body is. The parents won't tell where the body is. Now you put me in a room with them, I guarantee you I'll find out where that damn body is. But that's not the world we live in, and we probably shouldn't do that because that leads to a slippery slope. Like we really can't.
We're not law enforcement though.
I know, but but once you start taking justice in your own hands, but that's just a wild story, and it just makes me sad to know that the kind of abuse that kid was probably going through every day. That this probably was the end at least was some type of peace for him because the
thing is that's not something like that is not where it starts.
No, they were probably doing all kinds.
That's not like, oh, let's kill the kid, put him someplace.
Right. So my heart it just breaks for that. But anyway, well, we are getting dark, as Rusty says in the chat. So that was Mother's Day, which is with, But like I said, most mothers are great. Now, I do want to say real quick before we hit a few news stories. We did our Mount Rushmore of Oscar movies, and you had Casablanca on there. And I finally watched it. And I gotta say, it was pretty good. I got some qualms with it, but if I put myself in the mindset of when that movie came out, that movie would have blown me away back then. I mean, it's a great story. It's great acting. Here's my problem with it. So the main character, you're telling me this guy was a rebel fighter. If you don't know what Casablanca is, the story of a guy. He's in Morocco. He has a cafe that he lets kind of anybody into. It's kind of anybody can come in here. If you're hiding from the Nazis sitting there in World War II, come on in here. We'll take you. If you're the Nazis, come on. It's a neutral, as they say, you're a neutral person. If you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, this guy was a true neutral character. He did not care. Now you find out he didn't care because his heart got broken. So we're just supposed to root for this guy who, at one point, before he meets this girl, he's a rebel fighter. He's a rebel fighter. He was helping people. Yeah. He meets this girl. The girl doesn't show up. And then he turns into this guy who's just like, well, Jews are being killed. Who cares, dude? And the only reason he changes is because the lady came back. That's as far a stretch of a character, man. I mean, am I going to something here? I mean, that's pretty wild, dude. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I know he's redeemed at the end, but it's like, bro, there was a big period in the middle where you were blindly turning your eye to these Nazis coming in and rounding up people in your bar, dude. Come on. At a different time, I guess. But, and I watch a show like The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm like, and so in that story, basically a section of America takes over America. They capture women. They strip away women's rights. They use them as sex slaves. And every time I watch it, I go, why does no other country come help us? And I go, you know what? We really didn't go help the Jews until Japan bombed us. So maybe I'm not that far off. Maybe that is the real world we live in. So that's a good segue to go into what, John, you know more. You've been in religious studies. You went to college at Free Will Baptist. You've learned about the religious studies. What do you know about Israel versus Palestine? Is that something they touched on when you were there? Because
not really.
I'm dumb, and I kind of understand, but I don't.
It's not just Israel versus Palestine. It's Israel versus the Muslims versus it's more religious than it is political.
Currently it's Palestinian rebels who are being killed, civilians, whatever, are being killed by the Israel people, the Jews. Okay. And this is what I've read. So I've kind of read about it, but I'm still not really getting it. I don't understand. It was a British controlled area. Then the British people gave it to the Israel nation. But the Palestinians think they got screwed out of the land. It's supposed to be the Holy Land from the Bible, right? Yeah. And so I think that's religious battles are never going to end until one side just stops caring, right?
Yeah.
But what I've learned is the Republicans are all on the side of Israel. Like they're pro-Israel. And I'm thinking this is because of the Bible, right? Because they're God's chosen people. Is that a lot of it?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
And then the Palestinian people, I see a lot of the Democrats kind of. Now, the people that are in the middle, I see, there are outright people who hate the Jews that are on the side of the Palestinians that get on like these alt-right news stations. So I was watching the clip the other day and this guy goes, this isn't right. And I'm like, yeah, get him, man. It was on Reddit. And I start going down the comments. I go, oh, this guy's a Jew hater. And I went, oh, no, I can't. Do you have an opinion on this? Or because I don't even know what the hell to believe, man.
My thing is, as far as religious belief and stuff, it's just land.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's just land, and I know in the Old Testament it's like this is the promised land. It's supposed to be for God's people,
right?
If you have that much trust in God, let Him sort it out.
I would agree with you. I mean, they're not doing that, and they probably reckon too. Well, in the Old Testament, I mean, people had wars over land, right? I mean,
It was mostly, the time of Joshua was leading the Israelites.
Right, yes.
And so, but I mean, that went for 40 years.
This has been going on for.
This is
It's a long.
about 5,000 years.
Right. I mean, it's a never-ending battle, right? Until either one side's gone or both sides are gone. This is never going to end.
Well, even if the Palestinians are white, then the Muslims are going to be like, oh, hey, we.
So what is so great? Is it basically the land is holy? Is that? I mean, what?
That's what they believe.
Or is there some sprinkle of power in it too, though? I mean, that's usually. Is there a little bit of something more? I mean, I understand people's religious beliefs.
If you have something,
yes,
that everybody wants for whatever reason,
right,
then you're the most powerful.
And that's true. Yes. So
yes, it is about power.
Okay.
But that power comes from the ownership of that land.
So I just don't know. Like, people have asked me before. It's really in the news right now, like big time. Like, I always look for news stories to bring, and I was like, my God, it's like every news story. I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to read up on it. I'm like, all right, I kind of get it, but I don't know what side's right. I don't know what side's wrong. That's the problem. If you ever like, yo, would you ever be president? No, because I don't understand any.
I'm not smart enough to be.
No, I'll tell you I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not with that stuff. I'm very confused about it. I'm very confused about economics. I don't know how any.
And the thing is okay, say you're willing to learn. Who's to say you're learning? It's his story.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, it's just odd, man, that this continues to be. But like I say, if you ever. Now that you know this, if you've never thought of it before, if you ever get behind a car and it's like pro-Israel, that's a Republican, 100%. I know sometimes I make statements like blanket statements. No, this is it. You know.
I don't know. I'd like to find out where Bernie Sanders stands on this.
He's probably Palestinian, I would imagine. I mean, I don't know that.
Is he?
I mean, Andrew Yang came out and I guess he's Democrat, and I think he's for the Israel. And so AOC attacked. It's all convoluted, man. I just think it's one of those things. Do we get involved or do we just not get involved? Like, because, people will say, hey, we need to stay out of people's business. But then I come back, well, what about World War II? Shouldn't we have gotten involved very early on in that? Like that. And Africa has the same situation right now. There are armies in Africa that are literally stealing kids, enslaving them, and turning them into soldiers of fortune, where kids at 13 are mass killing people. Like, where does the obligation? I mean, I'm becoming more a humanist as I get older, and probably more of a globalist. Like, I don't think anyone should have all the global power, but if you can help someone, it seems you should. But do we have the footing to even understand? Like you say, I mean, I guess Joe Biden's for his. I don't know, man. I think there's money in this that politicians are getting. Number one, I always think. Any politician makes a decision, minus a few, maybe like a Bernie Sanders, there's money behind it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of money, as I've read, going into this pro-Israel deal. So, I don't know, man. I just wanted to touch base. I didn't know if you had any more to it, but I guess you kind of confirmed kind of what I thought. But, I mean, it's just land, people. I mean, I hate to tell Americans, but... I mean,
that story was ongoing and not just being a part of the land, but just in a religious history period.
Yeah.
Even the time of Christ, the reason why a lot of the Pharisees were so against Christ was because he was taking attention, and with attention, money away from them.
Yes.
And so that's why they were so up in arms. I mean, when your only claim to fame to this guy to be able to put him to death is because he was healing people on the Sabbath.
Right.
Then,
yeah, I know. It's crazy. I mean, people, you said it best. People fear having that. It's like kids, a kid have a block, and the block means nothing. The kids don't even know what it means. It's like a letter on it, but that's their block. And they're going to fight every other kid for the block. And all the other kids see the block and they're like, we want that block you got. And it's like, why? Because we want it. And it's like, all right, man. There's 100.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people don't understand a lot of that religious history when they look back at it. A lot of even with movies and stuff, when they depict Barabbas,
right?
For the trial of Christ, the people Pilate was like, look, you guys want to see a death, It's going to be either Barabbas or Jesus.
Right.
And people in the movies, they depict Barabbas as like a drooling nut job.
Like a criminal, like a crazy ass criminal.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Manson.
Barabbas was like the Batman of their day.
Oh, really?
Barabbas was a zealot.
Oh, okay.
And a zealot was someone who was so for Israel that they were actually going behind the lines and actually killing Greek soldiers to get the Greeks out.
Wow, okay.
And so a lot of those people, even one of Christ's disciples, Simon, not Simon Peter, but the other Simon, was a zealot before he became a disciple. And so those people were looked upon like vigilantes.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's interesting.
they were like heroes to a lot of people. And so it's not like, oh, they just picked a madman over Jesus Christ who's doing all these wonderful things. They were both looked upon as people who wanted better.
Right.
But a lot of people hated the regime that was, they felt they were being downcasted on because of their history with Egypt and with Babylon, of these countries treating them as slaves. They thought Greece was just kind of going to roll through and do the same thing.
Right.
I mean, Rome, I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
Was just going to do the same thing. And so that's why they were so uplifting of Barabbas.
Oh, okay.
But what I think is neat is Barabbas was the first life that Jesus took the place of.
Okay.
If you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Barabbas, the name Bar-Abbas, means son of a father, literally. Bar means son of.
Okay.
And Abba means father.
Okay.
And so that's every man.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, no, it is actually. Well, there you go. So that's
a brief religious lesson.
There you go. Well, I asked for it. Yeah. So obviously,
I'm your brother.
Well, I mean, I know people are going to believe what they believe, and even in the chat, Robin says, she's, religious, but for the Palestinians, and Rusty says, there's been many people's blood have been split for that land. And it's true. I mean, and like I said, it probably will continue until.
I mean, since the time of Joshua.
Probably forever. Well, let's talk about something silly. There's obviously, if you didn't know, there is a gas shortage, quote unquote. And I love how the Republicans want to blame it on Biden. It's like, dude, do you guys think the president controls the gas? No. A hacker group hacked into this pipeline and basically said, if you want access to this stuff, you're going to have to give us what we want. And they're like, we're not doing it. So there's been a temporary shortage of gas. Once again, this has happened before. Back when me and John recorded our first album, there was a gas shortage. I remember this because I had to borrow my wife's car to drive out to the studio because my car didn't have any gas in it. So there's been many gas shortages. It happens. It's supply, demand. We're using too much gas. We get it. Well, a lot of it stems from paranoia. Yes. And there's always, is the news fueling this, or is it the news? Is it their obligation to decide? I mean, I don't want to, whatever the case would be. But what I find funny, and every day, John, I wake up and I really sit down in my chair and I read, and I'm just so, where is my faith in humanity? And I think somebody quoted this best. Somebody retweeted or something, George Carlin. George Carlin said, think about the average person in the world. Think about how stupid they are. Now, think about half the country is dumber than that person. I'm like, we're screwed, right? I mean, we're screwed. Well, so Rusty says if the media wouldn't covered it, it never would have happened. Well, I feel that's like the chicken or the egg, because if it didn't happen, the media wouldn't cover it. I mean, it is their job to cover stories. Now, they pick the stories, of course, but if there's a big story like this, I feel they're gonna have to cover it. I mean, that's just me. But Feslov says paranoia and folks are even selfish AF, which is true. So if you don't know, now I went and got gas the day this was happening, no problem at all. That night, whenever the night was, like Tuesday, I drove by the Kroger. I had to go pick something up for my son. There was a line. It had to be 50 cars. I was like, what is happening?
I'm not surprised.
But that's not the good part. The good part is here's why I stay on social media. Every day I debate, should I stay on social media? But then you get on here and you see these people being captured on film doing the stupidest things. People are putting gasoline in Kroger bags the plastic Kroger bags. And I've got a lot of questions about that. It's many videos. This ain't one video. This is multiple videos. People were showing up with 60-gallon containers and putting gas in those, which no telling what the cost would be on that. As the picture you see on the screen right now, this woman has multiple gas cans she's filling up, putting it into her car. And like festivals, they're just selfish, man. And I've noticed correlation, and I think this is true. I think that you're not.
Last year, this time, toilet paper.
Right, yeah, so it's something. Non-mask wearers are the same people taking the gas, is my theory. And I think it's true. I think it's every picture I've seen of these people pumping up gas, I haven't seen one mask of anybody. Now, do I wear a mask when I pump my gas? No. So, but would I pump a gas can full of a Kroger plastic bag? Never.
Yeah.
Never. I just think this shows. So I wake up every morning and decide, do I have faith in humanity or not? And it's stories like this where I'm like, if the real stuff happens in this country, we are screwed, man. Like if there is a food shortage, we are done, dude. It is over for good, is what I think. And I think these small group of people are just, they're outliers. Like these are people that don't give a crap. Like I would be embarrassed to do it. If I was going to do it, I would try to hide it.
Yeah.
These people do not care. They are blatantly out there doing it. I mean, when you roll up in a pickup truck, do people understand what a 60-gallon container is? I mean, it's as large as the truck bed, and it's like 6 feet high.
Okay, imagine a water tank. Yeah, the water jugs that you have at work.
Yeah.
The water cooler. 12 of those.
Yeah. I mean, it is. How much would that even cost, dude? Okay, so if gas is 2 gallons, it's almost $3 a gallon.
Just say $3.
So that's almost $200 you'd be putting into this with your car and the thing. It's ridiculous. What are you going to do with this? There's an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 4, which is early on, like 2009 or something, where they had a whole episode about this. And you watched that episode because I remember watching it. And I went, this is so stupid. And now I'm like, oh, no. I love when TV shows predict the stupidity of people. I love it. Like Idiocracy, love it.
Yep.
Sunny in Philadelphia, love it. All the things you see on the shows, you're like, there's no way. No, there's a way, and it's happening. So, are you all right on gas, John? Are you gonna have to? You gonna go out?
We have 3 cars, and the one I use the most is a little more than halfway full.
Right.
And I probably drive about less than 20 miles a day.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
so yeah.
If that's just sum it up, yes, because too many selfish people don't think about the greater good. And I think that's where we're at in this country. And I lie to political lines and things like that. You either think there's a school of thought of we need to do what's good for most people, and there's another school of we need to do what's good for us. And I think, it's just me philosophically speaking, the philosophy where you're doing what's good for you is generally never good for other people. I know Ayn Rand was her entire thought, who wrote The Fountainhood and Atlas Shrugged. That was her entire thing. Her whole philosophy was, if you do objectivism, if you do what's good for you, if you're striving to do the best thing that's for you, it will benefit everyone else. I don't believe that at all. I believe that is a fallacy. I believe that if those people that have that gas, they would not share it. If the gas ran out tomorrow, no way they would share it. No way. No. And unfortunately, I mean, good thing we're kind of moving away from gas, but I mean, eventually that would probably happen on a larger scale. I mean, it's kind of scary, but you know, it's kind of the. I
mean, it's a limited resource.
It runs.
There's only so much.
Yeah, and it runs this country. I mean, think about how do you get to work every day? How do you get to the store? How do you get?
How do your lights on?
Right. So it's crazy. It's I don't know, man. Humanity over the long scale. I'm really afraid. I think we'll be dead, but I have kids, and they're probably gonna have kids, so I'm fearful.
Yeah,
I'm getting older and just thinking about these things, and I kind of hate it. I just there's a scene in the Watchmen comic book that I always love to reference. Dr. Manhattan's this guy that he's a scientist. He gets blown up. He turns into this kind of this omniscient being who can he sees everything in like a non-linear time, and he's very powerful. And at one point, he's just like, I'm done with the human race. This place is screwed up. They're no good. And so he disappears to the moon. And there's this shot you'll see. He's sitting on the moon, just like sitting down, just like shaking his hand. I'm like, can I do that? Can I go to the moon and just get away from all these people? Because, I don't know, man. It's very bad. All right. Well, anyways, I think that hit the news. Do you have anything in the news this week, John? Or Not really.
I mean, that's the big thing. Is I mean, we talked about it just before the show. I mean, and if you guys don't know, I mean, India hit it bad with the corona.
Oh, that's right. So the CDC today said if you're fully vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask unless it's at a doctor's office or designated areas where they ask you to wear it. But for the most part, going outside, big crowds, you're fine to not wear a mask. Now, John, we've both been fully vaccinated. Any chance you're not wearing a mask in big crowds?
I mean, there's a creepiness factor. I still feel it's a cringe thing. I don't feel comfortable. And the fact that when I got my second dose, and they said, and I don't know if they were just saying this just to kind of urge people to still be careful or what, but they've said that if you could still contract it and pass it on to someone else. And I've got 2 small kids that don't wear masks, and I still try to maintain my bubble.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And the fact that the 2 most important people in my life, 3 most important people in my life are in my bubble, and 2 of them don't have vaccinations, then right. I'm still going to be as careful as I need to be.
Well, dude, I went to a school function on Friday, and there was maybe, and I mean, I didn't wear one, but there was hundreds of people. I saw maybe 5 masks of the whole thing. Like I say, now I'm looking at it like I'm vaccinated. I probably should have wore the mask, but I've admitted before, I'm kind of mask. I try to wear it anytime I'm going to a store. If I'm going to a store, I'm going to wear it because I look at the employees. They're wearing the mask. I'm going to wear the mask. But I went to Walmart the other day, and I left my mask at home because I was making a quick run, and I went in there without the mask, and it felt very strange, man. I wanted to wear a shirt that says, I'm not a Republican. I'm vaccinated. I really wanted a shirt that says, I've seen people making those shirts. It kind of cracks me up because I think it's more at this point, it is a political statement at this point.
I mean, it sucks that it's that way.
But I think 100% it is. I mean, but you identify slightly as a Republican. I mean, I would argue that you're not really a full, but you wear one. But I'm talking about like the pro-Trump Republicans have decided their mantra is, I'm not wearing a mask no matter what. Like, I don't care. So I don't know. But anyways, India. Ooh, that's gonna end badly. A lot of those people are gonna die, but they've got billions of people. And like I say, you're either up here, you're either really rich, or you're really poor. And I bet those poor people are dying by the millions.
Yeah.
Millions, man.
I mean, they're hitting records on the day. Almost every day.
Crazy. Well, last comment, Festlove, I've been fully vaccinated for 2 months and still wear a mask indoors and around people for respect for others, again, for the greater good. I think Festlove's nailing all the comments today. He's nailing it. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the news. Now we're going to jump to our Mount Rushmore of television moms. Now, I got an email from our friend River, old listener, one of our great friends that has found the show. And he sent us this email before the show started. It says, moms, subject moms. It is a tough call picking out the best TV moms. As a child of the 80s and a teen of the 90s, like us, I feel like I was raised by over half of them. I cannot wait to see who you 2 choose as the top ones. I have no doubt in my mind some of the contenders. I would be interested to hear if your picks are based on the moms you would have wanted, the moms you would want to raise kids with, or a combination of both, or I'll add neither. So I guess I've looked at this one as the Mount Rushmore of television moms. So at first I made my list saying I'm looking for the best moms, but now I need to step back and go, I guess I need to do the most iconic moms, right? Is that kind of what are you doing with your list, John?
It's the Mount Rushmore of television moms.
Okay.
Not the Mount Rushmore of moms that we know because of TV.
Okay.
So television is mostly for entertainment. And so I would venture to say that there's a level of entertainment, whether it be through nostalgia, whether it be because it's funny, because it's whatever.
Yeah.
Being able to identify. I know shows that if I can identify with a show, I tend to like it more.
Right.
So on many of those levels. On very rarely for my picks is it just outright the best mom.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be interesting then. I believe
You go first.
I go first.
Which I hope you don't take my first
Well,
pick.
you've already told me who your first pick is last week, and I will not be taking that person, and we will have a discussion about that. I'm going to be honest. This was not the easiest list for me to do. And I think the dads in television I identify more with. I think I like them more. We did a Mount Rushmore of dads when Lee was still on the show, and it was very easy for me to do.
Yeah.
The moms, it was a little bit more difficult. I really had to do some research, look into this.
A lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times, moms of the show on shows are more of the straight guy.
Yes.
And I mean, let's face it. I mean, you're not watching Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis just for Dean Martin.
Right. Well, but you're not watching Sopranos for the wife. You're watching it for Tony.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so okay. Well, let's get on this. Okay, my first one, I feel this has to be on most people's list. It's iconic mom, iconic show. I'm going with the Brady Bunch. Carol Brady's my number
Very
one.
good pick.
Carol Brady. Now, is Carol? I'll go by my checklist. Is Carol Brady a good mom? Yes. She was raising 8 children. Okay, and if you throw the dad in, I always say
8.
She had 1, 2, 3. Oh, 6.
Okay.
Okay. Always, yeah. 6 plus the husband plus a maid. I mean, come on.
I mean, well, the husband was.
He was all right. I always make the joke. My wife's raising 3 kids and me. So, I always kind of make that joke. But, okay, so, yeah, was Carol Brady a good mom? Yes. Would I have wanted her as my mom? Yes. I mean, she was always great. She was always there for the kids. I mean, you're thinking with 6 kids, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I have 3 sometimes. I'm like, whoa, if I had another one, I'm screwed,
And the thing is, if you weren't paying attention to the theme song
Yeah.
and you came into the show mid-run,
Yeah.
you would assume that all 6 of those kids were hers.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely,
And
yes.
technically, 3 of those aren't really her kids.
No, not at all.
But she treats them just like,
Right.
so yeah.
So, and I think she's an icon. So that's my first one, Carol Brady. All right, John.
My first pick, I believe, is probably the most entertaining
I'm gonna write this down. All right, if it is okay.
of TV moms.
Yeah.
Very iconic, and it has to be Peg Bundy.
Yeah. Okay, John told me that last week. Did she make my list? I don't know if she would have made my list. Here's my thing. I had a huge crush on Peg Bundy, number one.
Yes.
I thought she was a
Very
smoke
gorgeous,
show
yes.
back then. I was like, Al would always go, oh, I got to go upstairs again. I'm like, bro. I mean,
There was an episode that it kind of explained that.
oh, okay.
They were at the store, and there was a section of the store that had women's garments.
Yeah.
And there was another couple, and it was a younger couple, and the guy and his blonde wife.
I know where she's going.
And I was like, man, she's hot, blah 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 blah, and then like it had a lot of inner dialogue.
Right.
And then it showed the guy of this other couple, and Peg walks by, and he's like, man, that redhead, man, she's smoking.
Oh, okay.
And it had that's what it was,
Yeah.
and I was like, all this time, I was wondering why he kept complaining about this. I'd be running up them stairs.
I worked with a guy who used to tell me, he goes, you take any woman in the world. He was an older guy, so he always used to tell me, he goes, you take any woman in the world, dude. He goes, somewhere, someone is sick of her crap.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm sure he didn't use the word crap.
no, he did not say crap. But anyway, so Peg Bundy, yes, obviously, I mean, Married with Children changed the game for television. But,
Oh, yeah.
But she was great. Do you have any more comments on her? Would you want her as your mom?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Not at all.
Okay. Well, there you go. Oh, any more comments on her? We're going to keep moving.
We could keep on moving. She's great.
Rusty Greer. And then he told Peggy to wear a blonde wig in the end. It's probably true. Okay, I'm going to go with one. Once again, I'm going to go with another icon. I mean, everybody watches the show. I know it's not cool to admit, like, people watch the show now because of the namesake of the guy, but you got to go with Claire Huxtable, of the Cosby Show. I know the Cosby's like, cool, man, but everyone our age watched the freaking Cosby Show.
I mean, if you said this 10 years ago, everybody'd be like, heck yeah, man, that's the best choice ever.
Yeah, they would say he was one of the best dads ever,
Yeah.
truthfully. And she was a great mom. She was always, number one, part of being a mom is being there for a dad and helping them when dads make mistake. And he would always sometimes make, it was off base sometimes with advice, and she'd kind of come, like you said, kind of gently said, hey, you're doing this wrong, do this. But she was always there for the kids. Was she a good mom? Yes. Would I want her as my mom? Hell yeah, dude. I mean, her and Carol Brady, I mean, I don't know if it gets any better than that on the list. So
plus, I memean, very strong woman, not just to say black woman, period.
Yeah, for sure.
Strong person.
Right.
Not only was she a A+++ mom, but she was also a full-time lawyer.
Right, which is crazy.
Very strong woman, very strong-willed. She made no beef about what she wanted and when she wanted it and what her expectations were.
Right.
I know that I would love to have her as a mom. Yeah,
oh, hell yeah.
Definitely.
And she's another smoke show. I mean, so like.
Oh, yes. Very Felicia
so.
Rashad is very attractive.
Okay. So there we go. That's my number 2. John, you're up.
My number 2, I'm going old school, got an OG of moms. And I think whenever you're talking about TV moms.
Here we go.
She's kind of like the canon of how you set up. And I'm going to go with Barbara Billingsley playing June Cleaver.
Yeah,
Leave It to
I
Beaver.
figured you were going to go there.
I think when they were describing Peg Bundy to Katie Seagal, I mean, she's like, how do you want me to play this character?
Right.
I think they said, take June Cleaver and just the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
That's funny.
I think when you're describing an actress to play a mom, they say, they're like, okay, start with this and then do this instead or go here. And I think she's the template of TV moms.
For sure, yeah.
And then everything kind of builds off of that.
Yeah. Oh, I would agree.
And
I agree.
she's great mom. And
she's the OG.
Very simple life.
Yes,
very simple.
Didn't work. Was there for the kids.
Yeah.
But she is like, the NBA logo is like Jerry West. That's her. She's like the mom logo for all TV moms. I definitely agree with you 100%. Yes, she is. Yeah. She's not a GOAT. She's not like the greatest of all time, but she is the template for all of them. I agree with you on that. That's great.
Yeah, she's not Michael Jordan, but she is Jerry West.
Yes, right.
This is exactly right.
All right. Well, there you go. Good choice. June Cleaver. Leave It to Beaver. What a name. Wait. What was the kid's name?
His real name?
On the show was...
His name was Theodore.
Yeah.
But Wally, his brother, couldn't pronounce Theodore.
Yes.
And for some reason, he had a speech impediment when he was a little kid, and it came out Beaver.
Ridiculous.
And so that's why his name was
absolutely Beaver. Absurd that the kid's name was Beaver Cleaver. That is so stupid, dude.
I mean, that's why they chose it, because it rhymes.
Writers got in a room together. There's no way
in the 50s
there's
or
no way
60, whatever it was.
I don't care what decade. I go, no. Any name, you can call him Woodchuck. We're not calling this kid Beaver Cleaver, dude.
That's why they chose it.
I know, it's stupid. All right. Okay, I'm going to move on to my third one. Not necessarily a great mother, but definitely an icon. Show was crazy. Everyone watched it. I'm talking Roseanne. Roseanne, I don't know her name. Roseanne Connor. Yes, yeah. Roseanne Connor on the show Roseanne. I mean, everyone was watching this show when it was out.
Yes.
Now,
it's another one of those shows that when it came out, it was different from every other show. Yes. Like Married with Children, no one was expecting that.
Yeah.
There was not a show, besides Married with Children, that showed a below middle class family.
So I feel like Married with Children was kind of the over the top version of it. You know, this was like the realistic, like, nah, dude, this is a lot of people's parents. Like, this is a lot of people's living situation. You don't come in. There's not dinner on the table. Hell no. You better make your own dinner if you want it, dude. Yeah. I mean, I like that frankness about it. I do like that show. You're right. I guess I never thought of that, but Married with Children did open the gate, and then this is real. This is not Family Matters. This is not Full House. This is not Leave It to Beaver. This is the real world we live in. Is she perfect all the time? No. I still think she was a pretty good mom. I mean, she was there for the kids. The kids were little shits for the most part. But she was always there for them, always trying to do the right thing. Was she the most polished mom? No. But you know what? If you ask me, my mom wasn't exactly like polished, but she wasn't Roseanne for sure. But would I have Roseanne as my mom or probably June Cleaver? I'll probably pick Roseanne. I think she kept it a little bit more real. And it like I said, that was a different era. And the topics were off, but there were a lot of great topics on Roseanne. So she's got to be on there, man. I think she's great. So
I think of all TV moms, probably Roseanne was probably closest to my mom.
Really?
Just
cool.
On the way we had to be raised.
Yeah.
She had to work a lot.
Yeah.
Roseanne had to work a lot.
Right.
And it was always a crap job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think her best job that she ever had was working in that factory.
Which is not.
And she hated it.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. With the exception of Roseanne's not real lovey-dovey.
No.
My mom was.
Yeah.
But as far as just kind of the way when things weren't super serious or when things were serious, but it wasn't like you need to really emotionally be there for your kids.
Right.
I mean, the way she joked around when it was time to joke around, and when it was time to hunker down,
Yeah.
my mom and Roseanne were kind of, I mean, they didn't look very different either.
That's good points here.
So, I mean, yeah.
There you
go. Roseanne was pretty close to being my mom.
There you go. Well, that's my number 3. All right, John, who is your number 3?
My number 3 is Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond.
What is that? What's her name on the show? Doris?
Oh, no, it's oh gosh, I might need some help from the chat there.
What's her name? It's Raymond, and I can't think of it. Huh? Rusty said never watched it. Pretty good show. I'll look it up. Anyways, why does she make your list?
She just the entertainer factor. I mean, she's more of like a grandmom than she is a mom.
Anna.
That doesn't sound right.
It says Anna Romano. I mean, am I wrong about that?
That's the actor's mother.
Oh, Patricia, maybe? No, Deborah.
Deborah is his wife. Patricia Heaton is the actress that plays his wife.
Are you talking about the mom? Oh, you're talking about the mom of Raymond.
Marie, yes.
The mom of
grandmother.
Oh, I thought you meant his wife. Oh,
no.
The mom of Raymond, the old lady.
The old lady.
Wow. Okay.
She's is just.
Wow, I wouldn't have pulled that one. That's interesting.
The obvious favoritism she shows. I mean, that's the namesake of the show.
Yes.
That's why it's called Everybody Loves Raymond, because she favors Raymond of Ray Romano's character.
Yeah.
And Brad Garrick's character, it's
hilarious.
The neuroticism that she kind of causes in her daughter-in-law is
she's a terrible mother.
I wouldn't say she's a terrible mother-in-law.
If
you're Brad Garrett, she's a terrible mom.
What?
But if you're Ray, she's
but what would you judge her as an outside person? Say she's good or bad? I mean, you are a viewer. What did you think that was a good mother?
I would not want her to be my mom.
There you go. All right.
I mean, for her cooking abilities, I would.
Okay.
Because, I mean, she's kind of renowned for that.
That's funny.
But we've watched plenty of shows where you've got these mothers that are very judgmental. In fact, we were talking about a show earlier where there was a grandmother character that was very kind of judgmental of everything that her daughter did. And I am very sure that if she didn't have...
Isn't she played by... You're talking about This Is Us, right?
Yeah, that's the show we were talking about earlier.
Isn't his mother played by the mom on The Cosby Show? That is his mother-in-law, right?
No.
Oh, I thought it was. All right, anyways, keep going. People are like, what are you talking about? John was watching This Is Us when we came in, so we were discussing that.
Yeah, I'm sure if Marie Verone was her character's name, that if she had a daughter, her daughter would have probably wanted to wring her neck.
Yeah, Phyllis Rashad, right?
That's from The Cosby Show, but she's not on...
No, she's on This Is Us. She's the mother-in-law of...
she's not on yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
maybe she's in a later season.
Yeah. She's.
I'm only on season 2, guys. So
who's black guy? What's his name?
Randall.
Yeah, it's Randall's mother-in-law.
Yeah,
that's funny. Okay, so anyways, so your third pick is Marie
Verone.
Marie Ramone. All right. So we come down to my last pick. Glad you didn't get this person. Iconic, one of the most viewed shows ever. Marge Simpson. definitely number 4. Marge Simpson.
Good pick. Solid.
I mean, mother to Bart, Lisa,
Maggie.
Unfortunately, husband to Homer. I mean, you know.
Wife to Homer.
Oh, yeah, wife to him. I was a husband and wife.
Different show right there.
Different show. But, yeah, I mean, Marge Simpson is the animated mom. Like, there's no one else. You try to find someone that trumps Marge Simpson. I mean, Marge Simpson may be. I mean, I know we've named all these characters, but if you went to people in the streets in other countries and you showed them all these people, they'd probably. Marge Simpson might be like the number 1 recognizable mom. You know? But she's great. Great mother, obviously. You know, once again, would I want her as my mother? Sure, yeah. She's good. Always seems to be there for him. I mean, it's a cartoon. I mean, so of course you can. I mean, but, yeah, she's great. And I think she's, when you think of cartoons, she's the standard bearer. So there we go. That's my last one, Marge Simpson. So, John, we're down to your last pick.
I struggled with this because there's a few moms that I wanted to pick because there are moms that I really enjoyed watching and kind of wanted to be my mom when I was growing up.
Right.
But I really want to include someone to have that Southern flair that we haven't put in our list
You're
yet.
not putting Reba on here, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she
Wouldn't be a bad pick. Reba was
not for Mount Rushmore.
Reba was a good mom. But anyways, go ahead. I'm confused. Can't wait to hear this one.
I'm going for Thelma Harper of Mama's Family.
Oh my God, what's her name? Mama. Just put Mama.
Thelma Harper.
Oh, is that her name on the show?
The actress was Vicki Lawrence.
Well, Adam Pewitt will love you for this. That's one of his favorite shows, who we mentioned earlier. So I've never watched this show really.
I mean,
I've watched it. I did not watch it regularly.
I mean, she does kind of more play like a grandma-ish role because all of her kids are grown.
Okay.
But just the the blue-haired older lady that, which is funny, the actress that played her was younger than all of her kids on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so, her one-liners.
You tell me the actress that played Thelma Harper was younger. That woman did not age well then. Then it
was all the makeup and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess
she wore a lot of makeup. Her hair was a wig.
Oh, okay.
And then the way she wore her clothes and the way she made herself walk.
I did not like.
If people remember the original Win, Lose or Draw, the host of that show, same person.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
One of her kids was played by Carol Burnett.
I've never watched this show.
And Vicki Lawrence was Mama's Family was almost a spinoff of the Carol Burnett show.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Her son, which is the main character, was Vent, and he was if you knew what Vicki Lawrence looked like underneath all the makeup, it was obvious that he was older than she was. But the one-liners, I mean,
okay,
just the way she carried herself.
Quick
wit. It was.
I hear people love it. I'm just too Southern for me, man.
And my mom was not. She lived up north most of her life, but she could be when she was on. My mom could be pretty quick-witted sometimes, and she reminded me a lot of Thelma Harper, just not as mean.
There you go.
So
okay, well, let me run down the list. I had Carol Brady, Claire Huxtable, Roseanne Connor, and Marge Simpson. John had Peg Bundy, June Cleaver, Marie Ramone, and Thelma Harper. All right, so which is weird because Thelma Harper was a representative in Tennessee that just died not too long ago. Weird. Anyways, all right, so that was our Mount Rushmore. Let me just run down some people where I have listed. Kitty Foreman from 70s Show. I had Rainbow Johnson from Blackish. Claire Dunphy, if I was going to put anybody Modern Family. Lorelai Gilmore, loved that. My wife watched it. I ended up watching all the shows. Samantha Stevens from Bewitched, and Martha Kent from Smallville. I mean, that's a pretty good mother, but the ones I have are much more iconic. So
yeah, some others that I had. One that I nearly regret putting on there, was just not as interesting or fun as a character choice.
Yeah.
Was Maggie Seaver from
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She was just like the perfect mom.
Right.
Another one that I thought was a really fun character to choose, and also actually younger than her daughter on the show was Estelle Getty playing Sophia on the Golden Girls.
Oh, okay.
She was just hilarious.
Never got into that either. I just any show with old people, I'm out, dude. I mean, I'm just being honest. I never liked old people. Like even when I worked at a restaurant, I was like younger crowd, older crowd. I'm just.
I mean, like Cracker Barrel. That's all you're getting.
Seen that way. So anyway, anyone else before we wrap this up?
I mean, there's plenty of choices, but those are the. I mean, for those who are, Allie Mills played the mom from the Wonder Years, but I mean, she's.
I don't know.
Yeah, she just did. There wasn't a whole lot of breakout moments that she had. So I mean.
There you go. Well, the list is made. Let us know if you agree with us. We will post it on social media this week. So hit us up. Let us know who we left off the list. I think we got most in chat. They were listing the Waltons. Never watched it. Never will. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I think they named most of it who we did. So that is the show for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that Mount Rushmore. We've come up to the end of the hour, and it was a good one. Talked about mothers, talked about stupid people, and we talked about overseas conflicts that we don't understand. That's Blame Your Brother. Yes, I will say this. If you, real quick, I want John to watch Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix, and we need to discuss this superhero show that just came out. There's only like 6 episodes. It's a Mark Millar who did Kick-Ass. It's his new superhero show. So it's interesting. Anyways, watch that. And if you've been seeing this shirt tonight, this is my Lydia Loveless shirt. I got this in the mail today. Absolutely love it. If you're looking for good music, Americana, like country, but really good, Lydia Loveless. Go check it out. And if you want to check us out, you can go to our website, bybpod.com. That's right, bybpod.com. It's got all our past episodes. It's got our social media links. It's got ways to grab the podcast, YouTube, subscribe, show up on Thursday nights. They're still throwing out names, Miss Jetson. But yes, you can go to bybpod.com. Make sure you grab the podcast on any podcast platforms. And people need to go buy stuff on Amazon. There's an Amazon link on there. If you're going to buy anything through Amazon, use the link on our website like Rusty G does all the time, like John does. We get a kickback, and it helps the show. And we got shirts for sale if you want to rep the brand. That's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Tell your friends about it. Rate us, review. With all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your